So, podcast?
Podcast.
It's that time of the week again. It's Rebel Retrospective. I'm Tommy,
And I'm Kayla.
and welcome to the show.
Alright, where should we start this week? I reckon we should start with this week's Irredeemable. That's not a good sound. Okay, so Irredeemable, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, is a show that we think is trash, but is generally accepted to be a good film. Or vice versa, something we love, but everyone thinks it's trash.
Yes.
This week is Cloud Atlas.
It was your suggestion. Why don't you lead on this?
Yeah. So, for context, I love this film. I think it's a beautiful film. I really, really love it. But I know a lot of people really hate it because it's quite... what's the word?
It's long.
It's really long. It's almost 3 hours long. And I would describe it as like a little bit experimental, a little bit kind of...
I was going to say that, I watched this, or finished watching it, half an hour ago.
Oh, okay.
So it's fresh in my mind, and I absolutely love how experimental it is.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I haven't seen a film like it. It's really slow and just kind of like, what on earth? But you can't fault it for trying.
Yeah.
And it does it really well. And I kind of love it for that.
Okay. I mean, I love it because it's a frankly gorgeous film.
It is.
I really enjoy the way that the different plot lines fit together. Oh, and for those of you who are still sitting there are they going to give us spoilers? Spoilers. So I really love the way that the 6 plot lines all kind of interweave. They all have effect on each other.
Yes.
I think that's really clever.
It's a very clever film. I don't know if I'm clever enough to understand it, to be honest.
Really?
It's just really clever. I don't know, I think I need to watch it a second time. It's kind of like Inception for me. Inception I can watch so many different times, just because every time I watch it I will appreciate something new. And I feel like this is the same.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've watched it 3 or 4 times at this time, and I know that every time I rewatch it I will pick up something different.
Mm-hmm.
I will take something different away.
So I want to talk casting.
Oh, okay.
Because that was my main focus out of it. My top 3, Tommy's top 3 casting choices.
Mm-hmm.
We have Hugo Weaving, who is always amazing. He's been in Captain America films. He's been in V for Vendetta, good film, check it out. And he's great in this as well. Even though most of the time you can't tell it's Hugo Weaving. I'm usually really good at recognising actors. Just, I don't know, in a couple of things recently I've noticed subtler ways of putting actors in and me not recognising them.
Yeah.
So that's good. So we've got Hugo Weaving. Then we have Jim Broadbent, who, if you don't know, is in the Paddington films and in Hot Fuzz and also in Harry Potter. So, he's one of the best British actors of that kind of generation, like the over 60s, your Michael Caine's, your Michael Gambons, people like that. Jim Broadbent is also up there. And Tommy's top 1 casting is my fan favourite TV Doctor Who, Ben Whishaw, aka Q from the new Bond films.
Yeah.
And he's amazing as always, and I love him, and he's amazing, and he's also Paddington in the Paddington films. I love him. I love him. He's great. He plays, various characters, that's kind of the point. But in this, he plays one of the characters he plays, which is kind of the point, is a struggling composer.
Yes. Robert.
And I think probably my favourite character in the whole thing. A struggling composer who is... I got the impression, because they don't actually explicitly state it, but he is at the very least bisexual.
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
like, if you check like the official stuff and whatever, it's bisexual.
But yeah, so they don't actually explicitly state, they don't do this whole, oh, he's bisexual thing. It's just really subtly done, and it's really clever, and there's probably just me not paying attention, but the person that he was writing to, I didn't realise that was a guy until later on.
Really?
Probably because I had to kind of dip in and out of this film, and it was really good, and he's great, and he's Ben Whishaw, and I love him. Please be Doctor Who.
Okay.
So that's my fanboying over. Over to you.
Alright, so one of the things about this film is that they use the same actors for the 6 different plot lines, which I think is very smart and gives it, the whole film, another layer of like, these 6 plots are like interconnected, which is really nice. So the whole reason it's called the Cloud Atlas is because, so Robert Frobisher, who is the composer that Tommy just mentioned, is, so the one piece of music he writes is the Cloud Atlas Sextet, and it's a recurring theme. It is a gorgeous piece of music. It is
it is gorgeous,
beautiful. I will regularly just put it on in the background if I'm painting or something, because it's listen to it. Okay, just listen to it. I don't really know how to explain the whole film. It's
I would describe it as messy but not messy. Like, at first glance, it seems really messy. It's jumping around all over the place. But it's actually really clever. And it's all tied together thematically. And sometimes it's literally tied together, like with the lines of dialogue being paralleled. And it's really well put together. And yeah, just, it's really good.
And I know there was a lot of criticism about one of the plot lines. The one about Cavendish, Timothy Cavendish's main plot line, because it's a lot less serious than the other 5. Like, the other 5 are like relatively serious plot lines. There's a lot of drama going on there.
Isn't that the guy who owes the money?
Yeah.
I guess that it's not that it's less serious. It's just Jim Broadbent is hilarious to watch. That's all. That's all it is. It's just the actor being funny.
Yeah. So it's not taken like people. A lot of people didn't like it. They said it didn't suit the tone of the film, stuff like that. I liked it because you'll have these periods where you can feel yourself like tensing up in the shoulders because it's that kind of film. And then you come back to Timmy, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah, it's. Right. I think it really works in the same way that a drama might have moments that are funny, moments that are serious. This kind of does that, but it splits up all those tones into different points in history, I guess.
Yeah.
And so you can jump between, and it just happens that moment is a bit of your comedic humour element, whereas some of the other stuff, like for example the stuff on the boat, that's all very serious and very intense, whereas Jim Broadbent's just having a good time, having a bit of a laugh. I
mean, he's not really having a laugh, but you're having a laugh.
Well, yeah.
It's the dichotomy between the very serious and the very, like, I don't want to say light, but you know what I mean, is almost Shakespearean in tone. Having done a few Shakespeare tragedies, you get these very sharp, like, turns in tone very, very quickly. And I just think that the modern audience doesn't appreciate it as much as they should.
No, it's a very niche film, I feel. I think you have to be a bit of a film nerd. You have to appreciate all the stuff that it's doing. And most people don't.
Yeah.
If you're here for an action flick, you get like 10 minutes of action, and that's all it needs. It doesn't need more than that, because that's not what it's trying to do.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that most of the action is in the Neo-Seal plotline as well.
The future, but not completely future.
Yeah, the mid-future. If you would.
The mid-future, yes, the mid-future. So yeah, it's all really it's just great. And then in the credits when they do each actor, they do like all the characters they've played, and you're like, I get you, I get you. Like you're like, yeah, we get it. It's
Yeah.
good.
And it also means that there's a reasonably like small cast, which is unusual in films like that, or films in general. It's quite unusual to have very small casts. But it's
Yes.
because they're like reusing the same actors, and I think that's just really clever. This film is just really clever.
It is, which is not surprising considering it's made by the same people who made The Matrix.
Yeah, it's the Wachowski sisters.
It's not surprising that it's clever.
Yeah,
They know what they're doing.
they do. And I don't know, I just think a lot of people just. I don't even want to say slept on it because there was a lot of like talk about it when it came out, but I think a lot of people hate on it for being too smart.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, sure, this is not everyone's film. This is not a film you're going to get if you like, easy plot lines. You do have to pay attention.
Yes. As I learnt
Yeah.
very quickly. But it's amazing. It's a really good film.
Yeah. And it's beautiful. It's a really pretty film.
It is really, really pretty. It's really pretty. I didn't get the sense it was very creative cinematography wise. At least like comparing it to The Matrix, which is the other like very well known
Wachowski.
film by them. Compared to that, which was groundbreaking in its cinematography, it's not.
No.
But this is more just, it's pretty, it's nice to look at, and at the end of the day, film is meant to be looked at, and it's nice if it's pretty.
Yeah, I would say that in like style, it's more similar to Sense8, which is also Wachowski sisters, than it is The Matrix.
I need to watch that.
Oh my god, it's amazing. You really, really should watch
Sidetrack.
it. Getting back to the point. But it's more similar to that, which makes sense because it's some of their more recent work. They've developed their style to a very specific, kind of niche.
Yeah.
And yes, it's not the most complicated thing, but honestly, if you overcomplicated the cinematography, it would take away from the plot.
Yes, definitely. It's not about the cinematography, it's about the characters.
Yeah.
And how they interact. That is the point. It just happens that everything looks really pretty at the same time.
It makes it easier to pay attention to.
Yeah, it's a lot of static shots, it's a lot of shot reverse shots.
Yeah.
But that's the point, it's about the characters.
Yeah, and it's one of those films that if you sit and you watch it the whole way through, you do have to just take a few minutes afterwards to just kind of process what you've just watched. And personally, I love films like that. I love films that make you think about life. And
Well, yeah.
and I don't even know. You just end up sitting afterwards being like, I feel like I've changed as a person, but I don't know how.
Yeah, definitely. One might go as far as to say that this film is redeemable.
Oh. I mean, I would class it as redeemable, but,
I would also class it as redeemable as well.
Yes! We have a redeemable film. Go watch Cloud Atlas, y'all. It's good.
It's really good.
It's really good.
It's really good.
But also, be prepared to be confused, because frankly, that's kind of how it goes.
Yes.
So, would you like to know why I ended up crying at 3 p.m. yesterday afternoon?
Oh dear. Where is this going?
Don't worry, this is not going anywhere bad. So, I'm going to take that as a yes. I finished the 5th season of She-Ra, the Netflix reboot of She-Ra.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
I haven't.
Okay, are you planning on watching it?
Not at the present time. I'm kind of on hiatus from TV shows.
Okay. Ooh. So, you alright with spoilers?
Yeah,
Okay.
all good.
So, spoilers ahead for those of you who are listening. Alright, so throughout its 5 seasons, because we're now up to season 5, my god, the She-Ra reboot has been really good. Like, consistently good. There isn't a single season that is worse than any of the others. They are all good. The animation, beautiful. It's all very, like, bright colours and stuff usually. Which, I mean, it is technically a kids' show, so it makes sense, fair enough. And I think it's pretty. But it's got very good LGBTQ and other representation, so even in like the first season you have two characters who are explicitly two female characters who are explicitly married. Like, that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And no one says anything about it. They're just like, they're in love. It's all good.
Yeah.
But the reason I was crying at 3 p.m. yesterday afternoon is that after 5 seasons of character building and yearning and just, oh my god, plot tension, the main protagonist, and the season 1 villain, who gets a redemption arc.
Yeah.
Anyway, they end up getting together in, like, the crux of the final episode. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's... oh my god. Like, I'm starting to tear up again because it just makes me so happy. So, you know when you're watching a film and, you know, the superhero dude has gone and he's saved his, you know, woman or whatever.
Yeah.
And they have, like, that movie kiss at the end of the film and everyone's like, oh, my heart! Like that, but so much better.
Yeah.
The plot is done in a way, and I ended up reading a interview from the creator of the show, explaining why she did it. But the plot is done in a way that there is no other way that crux could have gone. They had to get together. So, for context, I'm talking about Adora, who is our main character, She-Ra, and Catra, who is season 1 villain, and then seasons 3 to 4, well, 2 to 4, it gets a bit more vague. And then season 5, she's got, like, this massive redemption arc. It makes sense. I love it. I love the redemption arc, it's so good. And then, you know, all these fucking years of pining for each other, and they finally kiss, and like, part of it is gay panic, and the other half is just, like, it makes sense.
This is me at every OTP ship in a TV show.
They are my OTP. They have been my OTP since season 1. I'm like, please, just kiss already. I've been waiting 5 seasons for a kiss, and I get one. But it's a wonderful one. And it's done so wonderfully. They, like, save the world with the power of love, and I just... like, coming back to the power of friendship.
Yes, the power of friendship.
But this time it's the power of love. And, you know,
Yes.
and, you know, Catra, like, brings Adora back from the brink of death by being like, you can't go, I need you, I love you, and Adora's like, oh my god, I love you too, and then they kiss, and I just, I can't.
Oh, that's literally me at, like, every one of my OTPs.
Yeah. So,
Like, one of the TV shows that ended this year, they had 2 characters who had, like, been dating from, like, season 1
yeah.
for, like, eight odd seasons, and they got engaged, and I was like, oh my god, you are Endgame. Oh my god.
Yeah.
8 seasons. Oh my god.
And, yeah.
Help.
I was sitting there crying, hyperventilating slightly, because finally, you know?
Yeah.
And, on a more serious note, aside from me, like, fangirling, I think it's really important that we are finally having these kind of, like, you know, I don't want to say understated, but, like, gosh, how to explain it? So, this is the main character. This is not a side character. This is the main character. There has been plot development leading up to this, and nothing is said about it. There isn't homophobia in this, universe, right?
No.
It's not a thing. And
it's just it's basically the same as if it was a straight ship.
yeah,
It's treated the same.
it's treated exactly the same, and you can see that in the final season as well, because you get... So, out of our, main cast, I guess, you have, 4 major characters who, recur a lot. So you have Adora and Catra, and you also have Glimmer and Bo. Bo being the only male in that group.
Yeah.
And Glimmer and Bo get together during season 5 as well. And, nothing is said about that, really. People are like, yes, that's fine. Much in the same way that when, Adora and Catra get together, nothing is said about it. It's chill. It makes sense. No one cares.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to have that sort of apathy, I guess, towards the sexualities of your characters in kids' shows.
Yes.
Because the more mainstream it becomes, the more people don't talk about it, almost.
Mm-hmm.
The more accepted it will be, and the less homophobia we'll get.
It sounds fantastic.
It really is. It really, really is. And you know how the villains are generally, queer-coded?
Yeah, Moriarty, anyway.
Yeah. We have a little bit of that in Catra, but there's, character building behind that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But the rest of, the bad guys, nothing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a queer-coded villain. I think they're hot. But can we have less of them, please? I'd like more queer-coded superheroes, please and thank you.
Yes, definitely. 100%.
Yeah. Another thing that I really like about this show is that you only really start getting this sort of... I mean, the romantic interest is there from season 1, that's how they build on it, but it's not really, a thing until the characters grow up a bit more. So you're looking at season 4, season 5, that's when, the romance plot lines kind of start emerging.
Yeah.
Because, season 1 through to 4, 1 to 3 even, they're still, sort of 15-ish. So, the romance develops with the characters. They canonically grow up into young adults. And, I think that's, it's nice that they didn't sexualize children.
Yeah.
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 Crazy that.
Yeah. Oh, okay then. If it's okay with you, I'd like to move on.
Of course.
So, we were running a bit short on new releases.
Yeah, we were.
So, we went back in time a little bit. Pre-coronavirus.
Back to a world where we weren't trapped inside.
Yep. And we watched the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Yeah, this was your suggestion. I'm holding you accountable for all the, psychic damage I had.
And I'm going to come out and say it. I adore this movie.
What?
I love this movie with all my heart.
You're an idiot.
And literally, I could not have asked for anything better.
Okay, I have one sticky note with 1, 2, 3, 4 notes on it, and these are all the good things I have from that film.
Oh dear. Okay.
Okay.
How about you go first then? You go
so
first.
the good things that I have on my... Well, no, not even good things, but the things that I mentioned was... So, it took me until the point when they are literally... Okay, so...
Spoilers ahead, everyone.
Yeah. So, the dude... I can't remember anyone's names because I wasn't really paying that much attention.
Oh my god.
No, this is a case of I had to bribe myself with snacks to get myself through the whole movie. I had to stop halfway through go to my local co-op, pick up some snacks. It took me a whole bag, like the sharing packs, right? A whole one of those with bacon rashers and a lot of lemonade to get through this film.
Oh, this is hurtful.
But I did it. I did it.
Okay, so good things. Be positive.
Well, kind of good things. Things that I have written down. So, Robotnik turns up at our boy Tom's house, and Tom, like, fucking smacks him one, right?
It's great.
Which I thought was fantastic, by the way. I thought that was funny.
Just be honest, for those of you who are watching this weekly and are starting to notice a theme of us liking when people are slapped or punched, it's not a thing, okay?
Are you sure?
It just happens that two things in a row are now have the same kind of thing that happens that we like.
I mean, it was a really funny punch.
It was quite funny.
So he punches him in the face and like knocks him out because Dr. Robotnik is apparently a weakling who can't take a hit. I don't know. Anyway, this like fucking robot starts firing at our boy Tom. So he like hides behind the table, and my initial thought as these bullets were going through the wall is, oh, they're not getting their deposit back. Like, literally, that's what I was thinking about in that moment. I wasn't worried about the characters.
Well, I mean, they're going to be moving, so like, you know, they want that deposit back, don't they?
Yeah, like they're not. I don't even know if they own this house. They are going to have a hard time selling it. And if they don't own it, then they are not getting their deposit back. Like, Jesus, if I was their landlord, I would ask them for the repair costs, because that's excessive. Come on.
Yeah.
Other things is... So Dr. Robotnik calls Tom at some point, and he just hangs up on him.
No, so what happened is Tom called the fellow police guy.
Yeah.
And Robotnik was standing there,
Yeah.
like listening, and he takes over the conversation, and then Tom just hangs up on him.
I thought that was hilarious. I was like, he hung up! Oh my god!
Okay.
And then, a little bit later on, they have like this tiny bomb thing that is stuck to them, and they manage to stick it to a rock.
Yes.
And the explosion pushes them over. And this sounds like such a tiny thing to be happy about, but frankly, I've seen way too many films where something will explode and people just be walking away from it calmly. No, explosions hurt.
Yes.
They will bowl you over. They will hurt you.
And they have a force outside the explosion as well. So like they will push you back, even if you're not hit by the flames, if you like.
Exactly, like Tom, not hit by the flames, got pushed over anyways, because that's how explosions work.
Yes.
So I liked that.
Very good.
And then finally, on my oh my god.
Oh dear, okay.
So you've got Dr. Robotnik in the fucking like mushroom world, right? And he's got Dr. Stone as a head.
Yes.
Rock Connaissance.
Yes.
Rock Connaissance got me. I was like, that's
Yes.
fucking hilarious, but at this point I think I might have been delusional, so who knows.
Okay. I'm gonna come in with the ultimate fanboyish
Alright.
points, okay? I have a list that's a bit longer. So
Well, I would hope so.
first off, I'm just gonna talk about super speed.
Okay.
Too many things show super speed as just freezing time and watching characters walk around.
Yeah.
Like Sonic did it briefly, but most of it that in the Sonic film is actually him at super speed and the camera trying to keep up.
Yeah.
And that's really good. That's good.
Yeah.
We like that. We like that. It's more interesting. It's like The Incredibles. Great.
Okay.
Moving on. At the start, it plays "Don't Stop Me Now," which is my favourite Queen song.
I mean, it's not my favourite, but it is a good song.
I can't fault that for being amazing. I like the fact that he's reading Flash comic books.
I think that's
in his den. That's really cool. I like the ping pong scene, like Quicksilver does in Days of Future Past, where he just plays ping pong with himself.
Yep.
I like the Mr. Donut guy is Cyclops from the original X-Men films.
Okay.
That's really good. I like him and his wife. They were married, right?
I don't know.
And Anyway, and she was like, you sacrifice for me, I'm happy to sacrifice for you. And I was like, oh my god, a functional relationship.
Oh yeah, I did
Oh
notice
my
that their
God.
relationship was functional, and I was like, well, that's good, but like honestly, it seems like such a low bar.
And then it happened like later on, carried on happening. I was like, oh my god, great.
Yeah.
And then we get introduced to Dr. Robotnik. And oh my god, is he the most flamboyant, fabulous, crazy human ever?
I have a problem with Dr. Robotnik.
Oh no, okay. Like,
Okay.
what's your problem?
My problem is that he is okay. So he's really smart, great, but I don't. I have this like problem with the presumption that really smart people are also awful people.
It's
Right.
you're kind of overthinking it.
I mean, probably yeah, but I
It's
don't know.
It's just Jim Carrey
It
being
probably is
Jim
just Jim
Carrey.
Carrey.
Have you watched like Batman Forever?
No.
No. Okay. Well, that's okay.
No, but my
But-
thing is that okay, so you find a lot that like super evil geniuses, right, tend to be really really smart people who decided that they're kind of done with people, which fair enough. We've all been there. At some point or another, anyone with half a brain has been completely done with the entirety of the human race. I've been there. I get it. That being said, I think that... Okay, sorry. How to explain this? I can't get behind him as a villain. I like to be able to, like, at least understand where my villain is coming from, And I don't get it. It just seems like,
I mean, I came the complete opposite.
Really?
I like instantly got it. I was like, okay, he's super smart, and he's clearly been picked on. Like, we know
Yeah.
that he's been bullied as a kid. So, yeah, he's gonna, because he's smart. He's an engineer. Of course, he's gonna prefer his robots to people, and that's literally his whole villain thing. He's not even technically evil. He just prefers technology to people.
Now that's...
His whole thing.
That's
whole
the
thing.
thing, though, is
His
it
whole-
doesn't excuse the way he treats people. He doesn't treat people
No,
like
it
people.
doesn't.
That's my problem with him, is that he treats people
No.
like a toy, like it's a game to him. And I hate that, because as someone who is, smart, and has been picked on in the past, and has been made fun of because of my intelligence, it doesn't excuse it. Like, come on. I get that you're weird, I
mean,
get that you don't like people, but come on.
It is. It to be fair, it is just Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey. Like, he's an actor who, back in the 80s and 90s, he was utterly ridiculous. He played the most flamboyant, craziest villains ever.
Yeah.
So he was Riddler, he was The Mask, who's not a villain, but still was over the top and ridiculous. And then he kind of grew out of it, but he's kind of gone back as for like a nostalgia hit. And anyone who knows Jim Carrey will just be like, oh, that's just Jim Carrey. Like, they do a dance sequence with him, and it's just Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is the creators of the show didn't have to cast him. So that was a
No.
directorial decision that someone made to have this character be like that. And so at that point, it's not just
didn't
Jim
mind him
Carrey
being like that.
Jim Carrey. That is someone deciding that they're going to have him play the character like that.
Yeah, I guess.
So you can't just be like, oh, it's just fine, it's just this actor being like that. And it's like, much in the same way that the people who cast Venom knew what they were doing when they cast Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Well,
They knew what they were doing,
the
much in the same way that they knew what they were doing when they hired Jim Carrey.
The one thing I will give them credit for, and I'm pretty sure you'll agree with me, I like that he throws temper tantrums.
I mean, it suits the character that he's playing.
Like, instead of like, because he's so used to people being mean to him, he just kind of gets annoyed when people are mean to him, which I think makes sense.
Yeah. I'm realizing what my problem with him is. he's a little bit too closely autistic coded for comfort, and it's not like good.
I did pick up on that, but it's not. It's
not quite.
It's just kind of Jim Carrey. I would recommend you go watch Batman Forever or The Mask or something.
Okay.
And you'll see. But anyway, moving away from Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, sorry, that was like a 5-minute rant. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Why does his wife's sister want her to divorce him?
I don't know.
Is that just there for comedic chops? Because it's really funny, but like...
Is it?
I
didn't find it that funny. I just found it kind of crazy.
Yeah. I've also wrote down just the line, well, Tom Who's Dentist calls him Tim.
Yes, that was funny.
Because that was really funny. And also, I kind of like that it just becomes a road trip in the middle.
Yeah.
With like a bucket list. That's pretty cool. I like it. I just kind of like this movie. I enjoyed it.
I really don't.
I like the characters. I like the relationship between Tom and Sonic. I did like Dr. Robotnik. And to be honest, I was going into it like, this is a Sonic movie. Like, what am I expecting? And to be honest, it delivered on what I thought it was going to be.
I don't know. It's not my kind of film.
No.
In any way, shape, or form. I didn't enjoy it. I spent most of the time trying to convince myself not to just turn it off. I was like, no, I have to see it through. I've got to get to the end. And to give it its due, it was fine, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I really like movies that are a character and their dog, inverted commas, forming a bond like that and having to kind of stop something. Which is kind of what this is at the end of the day. It's a man and his dog, except the dog has super speed and talks, right?
Yeah.
It's about that dynamic. And I've seen a lot of other things. Bumblebee, great example. And I just really like those movies. I think they have really heartfelt and kind of cute moments. So,
yeah,
although Dr. Robotnik is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I love it, but I kind of don't love it.
I don't know.
And I know, what are you expecting from a Sonic villain? Like...
I don't know. I spent most of the film just being like, fine.
Okay. Well, okay. That's fair. It's some people's movie, it's not people's movies.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of an acquired taste, and it's not really a taste I want to acquire. Hey, I said that for Extraction as well.
Also, I think you have to throw yourself into it. I think you have to say, okay, this is what it is, and I'm okay with that, and I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't, and you're a bit hesitant going into it, it's just going to not quite sit right with you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you throw yourself into it, boom, it's everything you want it to be and more. The Sonic effect was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Considering that the trailer was awful, they really pulled through in the end, and I like the super speed effect. Also, the scene with him playing baseball is actual goals, and I want to make a scene like that.
Okay.
At some point in my life, because that is actually amazing. Just a character with super speed playing baseball with themselves.
I thought actually, okay,
Goals.
you know what? I'll give you this. I thought that scene was actually very well done. I reckon that the baseball scene, like the whole playing baseball with himself thing, was a well thought out concept. And the fact that he does it and then is like, oh my god, I'm so sad and lonely.
It might be the best scene in the movie.
That makes sense. It was heartfelt.
Yeah, I think it's the best scene in the movie.
Yeah. It's heartfelt. I genuinely felt for the character at that point, and that's pretty much the only time I felt for him.
Yeah. Did the narration annoy you?
Oh my god, it annoyed me so much.
Oh, see, I loved it.
God.
And the jump back, where it was like the start, and then they jumped back. I thought it was really good, even though it's really cliche at this point.
They did an Emperor's Groove. And as much as I loved that in The Emperor's New Groove, I did not love it in this film. I'd
call it a Deadpool. It's very much a Deadpool. Like the meta narrative with the jump back.
Yeah.
And it's all very. I don't know. I really enjoyed it, but only because A, it was my kind of film, and B, I threw myself into it and was like, this is what I'm in for, let's go with it.
Yeah, whereas I was like, okay, I kind of resigned myself to my fate before I started watching it. I was
That's
like,
fair.
okay.
That's fair. And I think that's all we have to say on that topic, I think.
Yeah. What have you been watching?
Yeah. I haven't been watching all that much.
I mean, me neither.
So I think that it's probably time to go on to Showdown Throwdown.
Oh, okay.
Only one Showdown Throwdown
Oh
today,
my god, you were restricting yourself.
And I'm not sure if you're going to like it, but I think it could be an interesting discussion.
Okay.
As always, themed around one of the things we're talking about.
Oh dear.
We have your least favourite character, Dr. Robotnik.
Ugh, okay.
And it's villains throwing temper tantrums
Okay.
versus Loki.
Oh my god. Oh, okay.
It's tech versus magic. We put them both in a field, and they're presumably both going to throw a temper tantrum over not being picked as the favourite. So they're going to fight to the death.
Okay.
Because they're throwing a temper tantrum.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Does the temper tantrum before, during, or after they fight?
So we put them in the field.
Yeah.
They're like, what are we doing? And the omnipotent voice of Tommy
Right.
goes, you have to fight. And they're like, what? Surely we shouldn't have to fight. And they both say at the same time, I'm clearly your favourite.
Yeah.
And then they look at each other and they throw a temper tantrum and decide to kill each other.
Okay.
Who wins?
Loki.
Tech versus magic.
Loki, obviously.
Okay. Any particular reason?
Not just because he's literally my favourite, but... I'm sorry. No, I reckon that Loki would win because, like, I don't know, gut instinct, I guess?
Where it comes down to, is Dr. Robotnik smart enough to see through illusions?
I don't think so.
Does he have tech that sees through illusions?
I mean, illusions aren't really a big thing in our world, which is, you know, where Dr. Robotnik comes from.
Yes.
So, I don't think he could see through illusions, or even be aware that illusions could exist, I guess?
Yeah.
Because they're just not a thing. I don't think it'd be a thing he'd be prepared for.
I always envisioned it. I say always, like I didn't think of this.
Like an hour ago, yeah.
Yeah. I always envisioned, like, you've got Dr. Robotnik in, like, his spaceship thing.
Yeah.
And he's just, like, flying at Loki. And Loki just does that thing he does in the Avengers where he makes himself, like, intangible.
Yeah.
And just, the ship just goes flying through and, like, crashes.
Yeah.
Done.
Like...
Loki could just throw a knife at him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's gonna be an easy one. Loki's just gonna, like...
Yeah.
So you know in Ragnarok, when they've got Loki, like, tied up, and Thor is like, you know, as a kid, he, like, turned into a snake, because he knows I love snakes, and I picked him up, and he was like, nah, it's me, and then stabs me. He'll do that.
He turns into Sonic, and he's like, and Dr. Robotnik's like, oh my god, I need Sonic. He goes and picks him up, he's like, stabbed you.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Or,
Loki's gonna win that one.
Or they do the thing that, like, you know, in Ragnarok, they established that Valkyrie and Loki are, like, equal in terms of fighting power.
Yeah.
In that fight where they fight for a bit.
Yeah.
Have Loki do the Valkyrie jump on the ships, as, like, you remember when Thor was escaping and Valkyrie just jumped on the ships and tore them apart? Just have Loki do that to Robotnik's drones.
Yeah. Like,
just, like, jumping between them, just going, like,
Loki
you're down.
is,
You're down.
in canon, a god. There is no way Robotnik is going to win against him.
Okay, we'll give it to Loki. We'll give it to Loki.
Clearly. God.
Fantastic. So, moving on to gaming.
Yes.
Some games that we like.
So, as a lot of you know, because we keep talking about it, so the last Terraria update came out, and we're not going to talk about it this week because neither of us have really played it enough to talk about it yet. So that's going to happen next week.
We're going to talk about it lots and lots.
Yeah, but later. What I'm going to talk about today, though, is Animal Crossing, because I've been playing that. there is currently a museum rally event going on. So in each of the natural history, I guess, parts of the museum, so the bugs, the fish, and the fossils, there will be 3 stamp collection points somewhere in the exhibit. They're very obvious, they're very easy to find. You literally just have to wander around, and once you'll find them. And you can take your filled out stamp sheet to Blathers, and he will be like, "Oh, wow, well done. I'm so proud." And he'll give you a little plaque.
In that exact voice.
Pretty much. You can go back and redo it every single day if you want to until the end of May. I will be, because the plaques... you get the same thing every day. You get a bug plaque, a fish plaque, and a fossil plaque, and it's a reasonably easy way to make some bells, so...
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's really all I had to say about that.
Fair enough. So, following me basically completing Lego Star Wars.
Right.
That was fun.
Did you actually complete it?
More or less. I'm almost there.
Okay.
I'm at the grindy stage, and I'm kind of like, eek, okay.
Okay, you're at the bit where everyone who isn't a completionist like me is like, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah, I will complete it eventually, just not yet. But anyway, I've been playing a game called Slime Rancher, which was a thing a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Everyone was playing it, and I am very late to the party.
You're very late to the party.
By 4 years. Anyway,
yeah.
It's really fun. It's fashionably early to the resurgence.
Okay.
So it's actually a really fun game. I've been enjoying it. It's not particularly complicated. You collect slimes. You farm slimes to collect slime drop things called plort, and you sell plort for money.
Yay!
And that's basically the game.
Wow.
And you grow food, and you collect slimes. You can combine. You can fuse slimes together so that you can make them eat things that are better, because some of them are only eat one thing. So you combine them with something that eats everything, and suddenly that you can eat everything, and it's really good. And it's been a fun couple of hours. My slimes are very dear to me now. And I had an outbreak earlier, because basically to combine them you have to feed one type the port stuff of another type.
Okay.
And they can only have 2 types, their one and another one. So if you give them a third one accidentally, they become a weird hybrid black gooey monster, and break out of all your containment fields and slowly kill everything.
Oh god.
And I was testing, and I was like, what happens if I do this? And then it was suddenly an outbreak, and I was like, oh no! And they killed all my flying ones that glow, but I got new ones, so it's all good.
Okay.
It was very intense.
It sounds like it, yeah.
It's a really good game. It's really cheap on Steam, so buy it. if you're bored, I guess. It's really grindy, so just bear that in mind. It's a bit monotonous to keep doing the same things over and over, but it's got some exploring aspects of it, and you can get jetpacks and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Cool.
It's kind of fun.
Let's see. What else do we have to talk about this week?
I believe that's it.
Yeah, I think that might be it.
It is it. Fantastic. This episode's been weird. Let's just pause for reflection a second, and just this has been a weird episode. Just
it really has.
In hindsight, I feel like this has probably been the weirdest one. So
I blame the weather.
Yeah, everything's a bit weird at the moment. I've had exams and stuff, so hopefully things will get back to normal.
The normal silliness as opposed to the weird silliness.
Yeah, our normal shenanigans next week. But we hope that you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, and we'll catch you next week.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.